Okay, let's look at question number 1. Defining a market strategy. A strategy is a plan. Okay, so a marketing strategy is an overall plan or the tools that are used by the firm to achieve its marketing objectives. That is a marketing strategy. So every company must set up the marketing objectives. And when you develop the marketing objectives, you must develop the strategies that will enable you achieve those objectives. So those strategies or those tools or those plans that you're going to put in place to enable the organization achieve the marketing objectives, those are what are called marketing strategies. So that's what it is. And they wanted us to advise an entrepreneur on the marketing strategy process. Now, you need to develop a marketing strategy. How would you develop a marketing strategy? So this is the process. You start by understanding your customers. The moment you understand your customers, then you analyze your market. Then you also analyze the competition that is involved in that market. Then you do the research distribution. Next, you define your marketing mix. Remember, we have already looked at the marketing mix. Okay, the 4 P's or the 7 P's under the extended marketing mix. Then you consider the financial analysis. Then you review and revise the strategies. So this is the process of marketing research, or I mean marketing strategy. Okay. So you can do some explanation briefly because you are just advising how an entrepreneur can develop a marketing strategy. Okay. So you understand your customers, you analyze the market in which you are operating, analyze the competition that is involved in the market where you are involved also. Then you do a research distribution channels and define your market mix, product, price, place, and promotion. Then analyze the financial aspects of your firm. Then you can review and revise these strategies. That's the process which is involved in the marketing strategy. Unless if there's a question, this is what was involved in question number 1, and it had 20 marks. So we can look at question number 2. Discuss the process of market research. Now, if you look at a market research, it is simply an investigation of your market. So the first thing that you need to do is to define the problem and the objectives of your research. What is your problem? The sales are declining. That is your problem. So once you identify the problem, the next thing is, why do you want to do an investigation? That is your research objective. So once that is done, the next step will be develop the research plan. How do you conduct your research? So that is the research plan. When do you intend to start? How long should it take? Who are going to be involved? How much will it cost? That is a research plan. The third step is collect the information. So go out there and gather the information. That will help you understand why your sales are declining. Then once that data is collected, you analyze that data. Okay, analyze that information so that you are able to report your findings. So once you analyze the data, you are able now to report what are your findings, and then you can put up the recommendations that should be undertaken in order to improve or to address the identified problem. That's it. And it carried 20 marks, just these 4 things. Simple, easy, not so?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it looks.
It should be. Okay. So let's look at our next question. Discuss the 3 fundamental approaches to design. I'm sure those that have the module, this question, they just picked it from the module. So these 3 fundamental approaches are just appearing the way they are here in the module. Okay, so the first approach is called user-driven design, UDD. Now, what does this approach entail? Okay, you focus on researching customer wants and needs. So it is the user who is driving your design. So before you design, you understand the needs and the wants of the user. That's when you design. That is the user-driven design approach to product design. Then the next approach is called technology-driven design. Now, this one, your design is driven by the prevailing technology at that particular time. So you look at the technology that is prevailing in that period. That is when you design products. And the last approach is the meaning-driven design. You focus on the emotion and the psychological relationships that people attach to product. So you attempt to fulfill or to satisfy that. That's when you design a product. So you need to understand what emotional and psychological relationships have customers attached to a product. Then you design that product. That is the meaning-driven design approach. Unless if there's a question. That's that. And it was given good marks. Okay. If there's no question, we can look at B. Again, if you have the module, you will see that the midas, atlas, and the hems are just appearing like this in the module. Okay. So they wanted to explain what do you understand by the following terminologies in business planning: midas, atlas, and hems versions. Now, what should come into your mind is whenever you come across these terms in business planning, you are looking at the 3 categories for product versioning. So your product can be versioned as midas or it can be produced or versioned as atlas or as hems. So what is only important is to understand what are Midas products, what are atlas products, and what are hems products. So the best way to look at it is that Midas products are high-end values. So these are high-valued products, and the atlas are moderate or medium valued products. Then the hems are the low valued products. So when you are producing, because you have got a mixed class of customers. Now, because you have a mixed class of customers, you'll have products that will be meant for the high class, and the products that will be meant for the medium class, and the products that will be meant for the low class. That is what these are all about. The Midas, atlas, and the hems versioning. Okay, so that's how you can look at it. So you find that even the pricing strategies. So as you are discussing these, you look at those issues. Okay, the pricing strategies. If you have got the Midas, what pricing strategy are you likely to use? Okay, because the way you price the high class cannot be the way you price the low class. So you may use the skimming pricing strategy, the premium pricing strategy. Those are strategies that are meant for the Midas. Okay, then you look at the standard pricing. Okay, those can be used for the median or the atlas versioning. Then you look at the penetration pricing strategies. Those are the strategies that you can use for the hems versions. So that's how the 10 marks was allocated. The first 10 marks was for A, and the second 10 marks was for B. Then you are done. So Midas, atlas, and hems are the three categories of product versioning. Midas means those high value products with a skimming pricing strategy meant for the high class in the society. Then the atlas is the moderate or the medium with the standard or cost pricing. And then you have the hems version or products which are meant for the low class. And a question and comment before we go to question number 4.
These Midas products.
Yes.
In economics, there was a term they were saying goods of ostentatious. Those goods that attract even more clients when their prices go up. Would that be the same?
Midas, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, that's why they are using the premium pricing strategy. Yeah. But it's not necessarily that they are of high quality. Just about the minds of the consumer.
Yeah.
Sometimes I give examples. One time when you find people getting shirts from Salaula, they iron them and put them in boutique, and people buy them at 150 kwacha.
Yes.
So it's about the mindset of the consumer. They think buying in boutique means you are a high class.
Yeah. Like I think.
But I don't expect my students to behave like that.
We have one of them who behaves like that, sir.
Please advise them to stop. You need money to invest in constructive things, so please spare something for investment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much. We can look at question number 4. discuss the facets that the financial section comprises in the marketing plan. So if you look at the marketing plan or the business plan, in all these plans, the issue of cost, budgets, estimates will always be there. So they wanted you to discuss the financial section of your marketing plan. That's all. Okay. Now, this one, even if you are not prepared, I think maybe God's grace can help. It's just a matter of remembering that when you are talking about financial section, you are talking about money. So how much are you going to spend to implement your marketing plan? How much are you going to realize when you implement your marketing plan? All those estimates, the profit you are going to make at the end of it all. That is what is contained in the financial section of the marketing plan. So you can give those examples, how much you're going to spend. For instance, you're going to spend 10,000. Then how much are you going to realize? You're going to realize 70,000. So by implementing your market plan, you are able to realize a profit of so much. That's what is to be discussed, unless otherwise. So can we look at question number 5? When we look at this one, these are issues that we have been discussing, the business plan. Advise the importance of a business plan and briefly outline the stages of a business plan. Now, as I earlier mentioned, it is very important once you read the question, underline the needs of the examiner. Most of the times, we tend to answer questions partly. So it is very important to say, okay, this question, the first thing is I identify the importance of a business plan. Then the second part of the question is to outline the stages of a business plan. Then you are done. Okay. So, if you looked at what a business plan is, that's why I started by briefly telling us what a business plan is, so that we are going to know from the definition of a business plan, we are able to know the importance of a business plan. A business plan is a written document that describes in detail how a business, usually a startup business, defines its objectives and how it is going to achieve those objectives. That is a business plan. So from the definition, you are able to identify the importance. Maybe for the sake of, please help me. Is there power where you are, or maybe you are in a... Hello? You are breaking. Are you getting me?
Yes, we are getting you.
Okay. So the first importance is that, hello? Okay, thank you. Let's continue then. So the first importance is that it serves as a roadmap. It will guide you where to go. Very, very important. Then it is also used to attract the investors. then it helps to keep the company on target. So a business plan is a very important document to an entrepreneur. Okay. So we have answered the first part of the question. We can proceed now to tackle the second part of the question, where we are supposed to briefly discuss the stages of a business plan. Okay. So the first stage in the business plan is to prepare yourself for a business plan. So get ready to plan. So put in place all that is necessary for you to do a plan. Where you need certain personnel, put them in place. All the information that is needed to plan, collect it. Then the second step, you define where you want to end up, meaning set your vision or set your objectives. Once that is done, step 3, understand where you are now. So no, where are we? Then you will be able to measure whether we have moved or not. Then number 4, create the strategies that will help you achieve your objectives now. So in stage 2, you have set the objectives. In stage 4, create strategies to achieve the objectives. And in stage 5, create systems to implement and be held accountable. How do we measure the achievements? So you have to set that in step number 5. Unless if there's a question, this is how question number 5 should have been looked at. You discuss the importance of a business plan and you outline the stages of a business plan. And a question? Can we proceed? Okay. Discuss the stages of a traditional business cycle. A business cycle. Okay, which is also now what is involved here is you to understand that the way we identified the product to have a lifespan, then even the business itself should have a lifespan. So in stage 1, it is called the seed and the development. Meaning this is a stage where you are sowing, you are investing. When you form an idea for your business, that is the first stage. This stage, which even precedes the very existence of your business, is usually called the seed stage. It is like you are creating an idea, you are developing an idea of the business. Then once that is developed, then you go into a startup stage. Startup stage. Okay? You start seeking for funding from investors so that the business kicks. Then once that is done, once the business has started, it moves to the growth stage, where you see things growing. sales improving, customer confidence increasing, okay, market share growing. That is the third stage. Then it will move into maturity stage, and finally renewal or decline stage. So the best way to look at a business cycle is just the same approach we looked at with the product cycle.
Yes. And I
The
almost
last
Yes,
one is what?
that is the best way.
The
Fourth is maturity, fifth decline.
Okay.
yes, sir.
Okay. So B, outline what a marketing mix refers to. What does it refer to? Marketing mix. When you hear marketing mix, what should come into your mind is the 4 P's. That's all. Think of the 4 P's or the 7 P's. That's what the 10 marks you can imagine. Just to outline the marketing mix.
10 marks.
Yes. So let's go to question 7. I think that is simple, not so.
Yes.
Okay. So if you have noticed, let's quickly look at the last question before we move to the other paper that we have. Now, discuss the reasons why contingency planning and the risk assessment should be addressed in a business plan. What is contingency planning? That is what is important. If we don't understand contingency planning, then we will not know why it is important. Okay. Do you know plan B? You know plan B? We hear people saying, don't sit like Timbino plan. Do you hear those issues?
Yes.
Yeah, so people should have plan B. So even in business, we need plan B. So they want us to discuss the importance of plan B. What could be the reason for us to have plan B? Anyone to help us?
The reason is because there are instances where you have risks and certain risks that can occur, such as a natural disaster,
Yes.
economic downturn.
Yes.
So in such events, you know what was a business.
So you need the next alternative.
Pardon?
So you need an alternative.
Yes.
Yes.
I get your point. Thank you very much. That's very correct. So whatever we are doing, should we have plan B? But don't go with the plan B in an exam.
I've even written plan B.
So don't carry plan B in an exam. You have prepared enough. Just get in with what you have learned and what you have studied. It's enough.
Yes, sir.
So why do we need the plan B? It helps react quickly to a negative event, as the colleague was explaining. When we are planning, we must bear in mind that things may not happen the way we are looking at them. So what if they happen in a different way to our negative impact? Then you'll have an alternative. Then number 2, it helps to minimize the impact of the disaster. So when a negative eventuality happens, because you have already a plan that you put in place, a contingency plan, before the disaster, before the impact escalates, you are able to challenge it. It will also improve investor confidence. The moment you are telling your investors that you have a contingency plan, then they know, okay, so in an event that there's no business, in an event that there's COVID-19, what have you put in place? Well, it will increase investor confidence. Not where you just say, no, we know things will not happen like that. Then you must be a DAO entrepreneur. Are we together?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's that. Then part B, they wanted you to outline 7 activities a lawyer can assist an entrepreneur with in building a business. This you can maneuver. Always you can find a way of answering this question. Okay? In an event of business or commercial litigation, you know, in business, people they may take you to court. Okay, then the lawyers are able to guide you how to go about it. Sometimes we breach the contracts, so the lawyers will be able to advise. Okay? Maybe you think of mergers and acquisitions. Before you acquire a company, you need a legal understanding of the implications. That's where the lawyers come in entrepreneurship. Okay. Of course, there are a lot. There are about 7 or 8 they can come in. Even when you are talking about sale agreements, you need a legal understanding of the implications. So those are the issues. Unless if there's a question, this is basically how this paper, the 7 questions, were supposed to be addressed. Unless if there's a question before we look at the next paper.
We are okay, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's quickly look at the next part. Okay, let's proceed. This is the component of those questions that were handwritten, and I think most of them were straightforward. So I just picked the few.
Yes.
Determining the business ability to meet current and the new market opportunities through an analysis of data, sort, paste, marketing mix, and service mix. We have already discussed the SWOT analysis, and we have already discussed the PEST or PESTEL. We have already talked about marketing mix. The only component that we did not discuss is the service mix. And I thought that we can concentrate on service mix. Now, a service mix or a product mix is a complete set of services offered by a firm. That is a service mix or a product mix. For instance, if you are providing maybe soft drinks, so the set of products that you are going to provide, that makes the product mix. So for a service, if you are providing a service, all that is attached to whatever you are doing, all the services you provide, if we put them together, that is what is referred to as a service mix. So it consists of service lines which are associated items that consumers tend to use together or think of as a similar product or service. So that is that. So if you are to meet your current or new market opportunities, you must conduct a SWOT analysis. Know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. Okay? So under the SWOT analysis, we said this is more of external environment. So you should also talk about the internal environment, which is done by internal environment appraisal. So once you do the internal environment appraisal, that's why you're looking at the 4 primary source base. You look at your human resource, you look at your financial resource, you look at your operating portfolios and the technological resources. These are the 4 primary resources that you need. Then you are able to evaluate your ability to meet the new and the current market opportunities. So that's how you should look at. You're just looking at the SWOT analysis and the internal environmental appraisal. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. Now I jump to question 2. Question 2, they wanted you to explain the role of budget for business. Now, if you look at the role of a budget, basically it is like a guide. It is a measuring stick. It guides the operations. That is the role of a budget. You do things that you budgeted for. Also, you do them according to the budgeted quantities, costs. So that's the importance of a budget to an entrepreneur. It is like a guide for his operations. The activities to be undertaken, they are in the budget. When they should be done, all these things are indicated in the budget. Then the 2 methods to determine a business current position. Okay, the 2 methods to determine the business current position. These are the ones that we are discussing here. When you conduct the SWOT analysis, you know your strength and you know your weakness. So you are able to determine where are you. Okay. If you conduct an internal environmental appraisal, you know your human resource, you know your financial resource, you know your technological resource. So basically, if you are discussing the two methods of assessing the business position, you look at the SWOT analysis and the internal environmental appraisal. Okay. So question 3, they wanted to explain the principles of developing a business plan for external funding application. You are developing a business plan which is meant for external funding. There are 4 principles. So number 1, you fine-tune the executive summary. So the way we prepare an executive summary for internal business plan purpose is very different for external funding purpose. Remember, we discussed that the purpose for the executive summary, it is a snapshot of the document. So you ensure that you catch the attention of the reader just by reading the executive summary. Then the principle number 2, ensure full content of the business plan. External funding purpose, you need a full disclosure. Then number 3, full understanding of the business. Before investors are able to give you their money, they should be convinced that you guys, you understand the business. You understand what is involved in that business. And finally, you must have a good understanding of the audience, the funders, the people you are going to give the business plan. Do you understand them? And when you understand them, you are going to provide the needed information appropriate to them. If these principles are not followed, you are likely to have a failing business plan. Are we together?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So basically, these are the 4 principles. If there's no question, we can move to question 4, where they want us to describe the sources of information that can be used to carry out feasibility study in preparation for a business plan. We seem to have a lot of questions about business plan. Yeah, so it's important that the few hours that we have, we understand if we have some gaps in the business plan, we understand the business plan very well, because this is business planning. Okay. So if you are preparing a business, hello?
Hello, sir.
Okay. So if you are preparing a business plan, where do you get the information, the data that you need? Okay. So that's what they want us to bring across. So we have this list. It's a long list. You can just pick whatever you want. The National Bureau of Statistics, you go there, they have the information about the marketing environment, the marketing trend, the economic trends. Then they were able to give you. You also look at the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. You can find the information that is needed in the business plan. You also look at the trade associations, Chamber of Commerce, all those. Okay. You can also look at the organizational data. The company itself, what information have they kept? Okay. Even on the internet, you can find the information that may be needed for our business plan. So this was a general question, and it was given a lot of marks. Okay. So I jumped some questions. I'm sure if you have the questions, you see that Some questions are a replication of what we have looked at already. Okay.
Yeah.
So I picked question number 7 because we never explained the financial benefits of preparing a business plan. If you know the business plan, you know that it will create a marketing roadmap. So that is a financial benefit. It will show you in terms of marketing. Remember, an entrepreneur, the greatest thing is to have sales. So if you can't market, you can't survive in business. Then a business plan, mind you, it can motivate funders. So it supports funding. Then a business plan, because it has the component of budget, it also helps your expenditure, to monitor expenditure and control expenditure. Those are the financial benefits of preparing a business plan. But these are bullet points. So when you list it, then you explain and how it can be used by an entrepreneur. That's what is basically needed. With a lot of examples, whatever you think can help people interpret what you are saying, you give those examples. Can we do question number 8? Explain the difference between business strategies, business tactics, and business plan. Too much about business plan.
Indeed. It's business planning.
Yes. So what is a business strategy? Because if you were to differentiate, compare, and contrast, you must be able to define what are they. Okay. So a business strategy is an outline of the actions and the decisions a company plans to take to achieve its objectives. That's what we have been discussing, business strategy. Then a business tactic, okay, is a micro strategy. So a tactic is a small strategy that takes advantage of business situations. So you have a strategy, which is the overall plan, but you have got minor plans that you can use in an event that something arises. So a business tactic is a micro strategy that takes advantage of a business situation as they develop. Okay. So I've given those examples. They are quick, actionable plans. Then a business plan is a written document. We are just from discussing a business plan. So that's how you can differentiate these 3. But they are all important in the hand of an entrepreneur. Okay. Finally, list situations that may require different types of business plans. I decided that we look at this question because I'm sure those that I were helping, I didn't talk so much on the types of business plans. Even in the module, there is very little about types of business plans. So we can look at them. So there are a number of types of business plans. So the first one is called the startup plan. So what is important is you to understand what it is. You people, why have you gone dark where you are? What is happening?
There's
Are
no
people there?
We are
Yes,
there,
we
sir.
are.
About your screen is black.
Sure.
There's nothing on the screen. Totally dark, black. Maybe somebody
Even now.
clicked on the audio and you have. Okay, so there's a bit of light that is coming. You are behaving as if there is no power where you are.
Yes, there's no power where we are.
Oh, let's finish by God's grace then so that people go and sleep.
Yes.
Okay. So the first type of a business plan is a startup plan. Now, from the name itself, you know that this is a business plan that is developed by a company or a new business. So you cannot have a problem to describe in what situation will it be appropriate for a startup business. Are we together?
Yes.
Then the second type of business plan is called internal plan. Again, from the name itself, this is a plan that can only be used internally. You don't prepare an internal business plan and give it to the external funders. It can't work out. Okay, so it is appropriate for internal understanding of business objectives and the goals. Also, the operation plan. It is just all about operations of an organization. That is the situation in which it is ideal or appropriate. Strategic plans, okay? Then the growth and expansion plan. This one, it can be appropriate even for external funders because they need to see what have you planned to expand or to grow your business. So this one, it can work. The feasibility plan, it can work both internally and externally so that they're able to see what you are intending to do and what you are intending to achieve. So these are the few types of business plan that can be used by an entrepreneur in business planning. I need to rest my case here and allow people to ask questions with the remaining 20 minutes. If not, we can go and sleep.
Questions.
Questions.
No
Where are we not
questions,
clear?
sir.
Okay, if there are no questions, thank you very much. I wish you all the best.
Thank you so
sir.
much, sir. May God richly bless
Maybe
you.
just one question. When are you uploading?
You want me to upload?
Now, eh? Now, yes.
The problem is I never wanted to upload because you guys are not clicking like, so I stopped uploading.
We've started. So in fact, we even liked your music videos. You didn't
You
see?
even saw it, you people. You should have concentrated on school.
No. God first in everything.
We
We
thank
first
God.
need to enjoy God's word, then school.
That's very important.
Yes.
Yeah, when we put God first, God does the rest.
Amen.
Exactly.
Amen.
Okay, thank you very much. Just give me some few minutes. If not, by 19 hours, I'll be able to upload.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
All the best.
Thank you.
Amen.
Opening our blinds.